Hey, what's up, YouTube land? So today I wanted to talk about a subject that's come up a lot with third culture and in my podcast. That is the topic of whitewashing. It came up again recently because at the Golden Globes, Sandra Oh made a joke about Asians being represented, and she made a reference to Aloha and Ghost in the Shell. And then Emma Stone, quite funnily, said I'm sorry as a reaction, which was, I mean, the whole thing was said as a joke, and it was in celebration of Crazy Rich Asians, which was a great example of Asian representation and moving forwards as third culture, moving forwards in Asian representation and diversity in Hollywood. But I want to go back today to talk specifically about the film Great Wall, directed by Zhang Yimou, which was also, came under the topic of whitewashing. It's the one with Matt Damon. Now, this film is now on Netflix. Depending on where you are in the world, it's on Netflix. So do check it out. The reason why I wanted to bring it up is because Aloha, I can kind of get it. We take it one by one. Aloha, whitewashing, because Emma Stone's part be played by someone else. Yes, probably. They already had Bradley Cooper. They already had some stars, and having a white person didn't really enhance the film that much. Maybe you could say for marketing purposes. Next one, Ghost in the Shell. This one again is very controversial because Japanese manga, a lot of these characters are written or drawn very westernized. I'm going over these very quickly because I really want to focus on Great Wall. Now, the thing about Great Wall is I feel is an important bridge in order to bridge cultural gaps and stories. Thing is, so China's got great stories. It's got quality actors, and how are we going to share them with the West that make them relevant or interesting? If you ever sort of have almost like Gulliver's Travel style, if you have this new world for the West, if you have all this Asian rich stories in Asia, how are you going to see them? How are you going to present them to the West to make it relevant and to make it understandable and relatable? You usually have to take a Western character that you are that can tell you the story relatable to, and you put them in that situation, and you put them in the middle of that story. Now, the only issue that could happen is if you make that person the hero of the story, because it sort of implies that wherever they're traveling to can't handle the situation, can't handle the story without the Westerner saving everybody. But if it's more as a witness, then it can be quite interesting, and it can be quite a useful tool. The Great Wall pushes that boundary because Matt Damon is incredibly, not really a spoiler, he is incredibly talented with a bow. And the Chinese have been fighting these monsters for a long time, and it's only now that Matt Damon shows up that they're able to deal with it in a new way. So can Matt Damon be seen as like the real savior of that movie? Kind of, although they do have their own Chinese heroes. I feel the biggest issue, though, is if we just smash these movies and label them as whitewashing, then they're never going to get made. And I want to know what people propose in order for us to bridge that cultural gap. How can we tell Asian stories and present them to the West that are interesting, entertaining, and relatable? Yes, Crazy Rich Asians is a great one, but that's a comedy. So comedy is relatable anyway. But a lot of those cultural references, not really. The two stars of Crazy Rich Asians, and the thing is, it's based in Singapore. A lot of those are very modernized and westernized jokes and people. You know, the two main people that are of Crazy Rich Asians live in America, and they're American, and she's American, and she's coming with a very American attitude towards things, which flavors the comedy. The thing with the Great Wall is it's a historical epic fantasy. It's a fantasy, not historical, but it's set in the past. So how is a white person going to end up in Asia? You know, or how is an Asian going to end up in the West and then come back to Asia? You have to allow for that. You have to, if you just took if you just told the Asian story and told it in English, it just wouldn't do well. People just wouldn't watch it. They have no one to relate to, no one who is understanding their perspective. The thing is, these films are good because, you know, half of it is in Mandarin with subtitles. It's getting the West used to Chinese culture, the Chinese language, and vice versa. You know, the Chinese who would watch this would see Matt Damon surrounded by Chinese people. You know, and it's good to mix culturally. It's good for third culture. It's good for the world to do more of these cross-cultural things and not just smash them as whitewashing, and then the studios are scared to ever do it again. The Hollywood actors are scared to ever do an Asian movie. The biggest thing that bothers me about whitewashing is exactly that, is we're stopping the cross-cultural collaboration. Which is important at times, you know, because how else are we going to build these Asian stars that the West can then relate to, unless you start with hybrids and you see them in each other's movies and each other's stories. So those were the points I wanted to make about that. I wanted to keep these short because I could talk about this forever. Of course, too, I do think that the more Crazy Rich Asian type movies we get, the better. You know, the more that we make, you know, Asian leads and relatable stories, the better. But really, like, cross-cultural content is fantastic. Also, the other thing, like, if we take this to the extreme, what's going to happen? Western actors can only play Western parts, and how specific are you going to get then? Americans are only allowed to play Americans? Are they allowed to play Europeans? Or, you know, is that crossing some cultural divide too? You know, at what point does this line stop, you know? And is this the same for race? You know, can you get a Black James Bond? You know, is that in the same realm of things that we're discussing? You know, I prefer if everything was open to everyone, and it comes down to relatability, and it comes down to the foresight of being able to market a star. So build up Asian stars that the West can then relate to and can understand. You know, like Jackie Chan is, you know, like Jet Li is, but we need more of those. You know, and it will only benefit everyone else, because we're going to have more stories to share, more diverse stories, more culturally rich stories. So I would love to hear your opinion on this. So please let me know in the comments, and do like and subscribe so I can do these more often. Thanks very much. Bye.